Good morning, you guys. So this is kind of interesting. The other day, Ash and I don't want to say we had a fight, but we had a moment. We had a moment, and the moment was that I got out the door, and when I got out the door, I was almost running late. And if there's anything I hate to do, is I absolutely hate to be late. And so, hey guys, how are you? Good morning. Good morning. Say hi. I want to see who's on. I can just see the numbers going up. I want to see who's on with me this morning. Coffee, baby. Actually, it's not coffee, it's maca. Awesome. Say hello. I just want to see your name, you guys. Say hello real quick. Good morning, Lexi. Good morning, Tiffany. How are you, ladies? Hopefully great. See, no hair required for 6 a.m. Good morning, Julie. How are you? Good morning. Hello, Lisa. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Catherine. Catherine, I love that you are staying so consistent. That's great. Awesome. Good morning, Nicole. Tiffany, missed you at the women's conference. I know. I would have loved to have been there. Unfortunately, there were some things going on that I didn't end up going. Janet, hi, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Holly. Good morning, Lorna. Wonderful. Okay, you guys, do me a favor. I wanna see if we could get more people jumping on this morning, and I want to share a really intimate story about Ash and I that I think will really help you gain more responsibility and power in your life to be able to have an extraordinary day today. So if you can do me a favor and go hit share at the top, and let's really get some more people on here. I love generosity, and I'm just asking you to help me make a bigger difference this morning at 6 a.m. Cool. Awesome, you guys. And just FYI, tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., I am going to give something away. And if you know anything about me, I love to get generous, and I love to get creative. And so I'll be giving something away tomorrow morning as a random act of business kindness to help you get ahead. Okay. Okay, so I want to share this with you. So the other day, well, first and foremost, you have to understand the context. Ash and I have a very, very, very different pace. He he has a normal pace, and I have a ridiculously rigorous pace. And I like to be done things. Like I don't like to leave anything to the last minute. And this was a habit that I broke many, many, many years ago. I used to leave everything to the last minute. I used to never finish what I started. I constantly had a to-do list that was super long. And because it was super long, I often didn't finish what was on it, which then aided to the pressure I put on myself and the bitchiness that would come out of me because I never felt enough. So now going back to our pace, we're getting out the door to go somewhere. And Ash coaches and trains leadership programs, and he is an entrepreneur himself, and he's an incredible dad, and he's just such a loving, caring husband. And he has a very different pace than I do. And so we're getting out the door, and I'm finding that I'm running right on time. And right on time for me is late, right? Because there's no cushion time if like there's an accident on the freeway, or my car breaks down, or something happens, right? There's no cushion for it. And I just don't think it's okay to ever be late, because I actually think that what you're saying to the world is F you, right? Like, you're not important enough to me, and that's why I'm not there on time. Whether you want to believe that or not, it's true. I mean, you don't want a reputation of being late all the time. So I'm feeling the pressure. And so I call him up and I say, babe, I love you. And I don't know how to say this the best way that I can say this, but I feel like your pace makes me late. He's like, but you're not late. And I'm like, yeah, but to me, I'm late. There's no space for me to be able to, for something to happen and for me to still be on time. And I was a little irritated. I was more than a little irritated. I was very irritated. And I said, if this was the first time that this happened, okay. But the truth is that I believe your pace makes me late. And he said, well, what if I counted for my pace? And I promise I'll get to the point of this because I think it's really important. What if you accounted for my pace and you actually left even earlier? So I said, oh, so I have to adjust to accommodate your pace to be able to get on time. And then he stopped and he said, you know what, Shanda? I'm going to take responsibility for you possibly being late. And I stopped for a second and I said, well, I don't need you to take responsibility for me. And he said, no. He goes, I could be more cognizant about your pace and how you're operating. And I could do everything in my power to accommodate the fact that you love to be urgent and way, way early. And I was like, wow, what an incredible man. And I said that to him. I said, you're an incredible man, honey. Thank you for showing that to me. And we hung up the phone and I thought to myself, wow, what an incredible man. And then I thought, wow, there's so much more that I have inside me to stop blaming, right? And I share this with you because ask yourself, where are you blaming something outside you for you not having your results? Like sorry, my nose is running. I have a beautiful client of mine who crushed it in Pace Club. And I just got a message that was not to me, but to someone on my team. People don't always show me all their shadow sides. They show that to sometimes people on my team. But my team, because their intention is always to help people, will show me. And they showed me, and this is someone who made 6 figures inside a Pace Club and had nothing when she started. And she was in this victim story about how she was feeling lost in the next program and how the last training didn't apply to her. And I thought to myself, wow, I really need to get in there with her. My nose is just running. Sorry, you guys. I thought to myself, I really need to get in there with her because what she doesn't realize is that a behavioral pattern that had her be a victim before she ever worked with me, where she had no money and was extraordinarily broke, she was broker than broke, is actually coming in to affect her today because it's the same mindset that had her extraordinarily broke that's now starting to come back in now, where she's blaming other people for her success versus being responsible for being on time in her life, right? Being responsible for getting what she needed. So I share this with you because I think that often we're giving our power away way too often, right? Like, you can always speak up and ask a question. When I look at my clients who aren't typically making it, it's usually, not always, it's usually because I never hear them speak. They might sometimes speak on a Facebook forum, but for the most part, I never hear them speak. And so what they do is they sit there and stew in their own shit and then become a self-fulfilling prophecy on why they don't make it. Don't do that to yourself, right? Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to your wives, your husbands, your good friends. Be responsible for whatever you're experiencing right now in your life, in your business, and say, what would I like to experience? And then how could I make that happen? Not how can you change somebody to make that happen. A lot of people will say, oh, I need to change my coach, or I need to change my husband, or I need to change my good friend so-and-so doesn't get me. And all of that is a power outside you. And the truth is if you were to access love and power and connection, that you would actually have more things work. So if you want to ask me what the biggest difference between, and again, I mean this respectful because I think it's a mindset. Money is a mindset. The difference between a mindset of somebody making, let's say, $5 million or $10 million a year and somebody not even making $100,000 a year, I'll tell you, it's their complaining. One complains a lot and gives their power away a lot and always thinks that they need something different to be able to be successful. They don't get that they just need to start either asking for what they want, they need to change a habit of following through, they need to change something within themselves or adjust their filters in their thinking to be able to succeed, versus the person that's already making 5 or 10 million or more a year. They complain a lot less. Do they hit less challenges? No. They hit just as many challenges. I hit just as many challenges in my business today as I did when I was first starting. The difference is my mental capacity. I'm not a victim anymore. I am someone who is actually succeeding and working through the problem. I really get that nobody's going to come save me. I can't hire someone to save me. I can't outsource it away. I mean, but at 100,000, I thought I just need to hire more people to be able to get the job done so that I don't have to do it. I'm still thinking it's outside me, right? I'm hoping you see this distinction. At 100,000 or below, even 200,000, even 300,000, even 500,000, you still have an element of victim. And that's why you think that something needs to happen outside you. What if today you let go of all of that story and scaled your business up to 7 figures or multiple 7 figures just because you stopped giving your power away? Just because you stopped thinking you need to hire somebody to do that thing, you need to, get more support, you need a better coach. Like, stop thinking like that and start making the best out of what you have. Mary Morrissey said this many years ago, and I've never forgotten her saying this. And she said, you know what, Shanda, she said, what most people don't understand is they already have everything they need to create absolute abundance. The challenge is that they're always looking outside their own bucket. And that's exactly what I'm talking about right now. If I'm telling you and you'll believe me for a minute, like just say that you'll believe me for a second. I mean, I've coached thousands of people at this point. If the only difference between struggling and freedom is the way you think, if the only difference between no money and tons of money is the way that you think, I mean, the Bible talks about this all the time. It always talks about that it's the way that you think, that you need to guard the way that you think. Because if you don't guard the way that you think, what will happen is the devil will come in and play with your thoughts, and you will think that you need something outside you because you're lacking. You're not lacking. You already have everything you need, and if you want something different, you could always invest in it and grow it inside your life. However, you don't need that. There's a very, very big difference because one's giving your power away. Do I hire more people inside my business? Absolutely. The more people I grow, the more the company scales. So absolutely. But the critical thinking component of that is every time I hire a new person on my team, they don't just take everything off my plate and it gets easier. I actually just created a new marriage. And if anybody knows anything about marriage, there is a getting to know process there. And it's not like we're going to get to know each other for a couple weeks and things are just going to miraculously work. There is literally and I don't even say it's a training process. There is a getting to know process where they need to understand you. And it's usually about a year. It's usually about a year before things start to really roll the way they need to roll. And there's usually a ton of things broken along the way that you overcome together. So how many things along your path right now are broken that you are absolutely giving away your power to, right? That it's killing your scalability, killing your money, killing your relationships because you're still blaming your husband for your pace, which is what I started the beginning of this Facebook Live with. I really recommend that you come as early as you can at 6 a.m. so you can hear the whole context of what I'm sharing for the day to be able to get the biggest impact. Be a great starter. Come at 6 a.m. if you can. I'm here Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. with Shanda, 6 a.m. coffee with Shanda or maca today. And let's see if we can make a difference for your productivity today. So I'm going to take some questions on your business, but I want to leave on this thought before I start taking some questions. And that is, if you are getting emotionally triggered, whether it's a little bit like it was for me the other day with Ash and his pace, or it's a ton, like full breakdown, like emotional trigger, and things are just like frustration to the max, and you just want to kick yourself in the ass and just go back to bed. This cold is going through me right now. If you're fighting that emotional trigger, then you are losing the game of freedom. And it's not worth it. You've got to stop stomping your feet on the ground and pouting. You got to stop stomping your feet on the ground and yelling. You have to stop. If you want to scale your businesses and become a true impactor, a true influencer on this planet, you got to stop bitching. You just do. And you got to start getting what you want. Stop leaving people because they're not good enough for you. Stop leaving programs because they're not giving you what you need. And start practicing getting exactly what you need out of every situation. And I promise you, you'll become so unstoppable that whatever it is that you want, you're going to rock it out. And money will never be a problem for you ever again if you start operating from that mindset. Okay, let's take some questions. Okay, you guys. Oregano and oil. Yes, I know I am taking a little bit of it. It's actually what you're hearing, Sloan, right now is it's actually gone. It's just my body clearing the phlegm. I don't have a sickness anymore. It literally is just clearing the phlegm out of me. So it's actually a good thing. Okay. Lexi. Hi, Lexi. I'm new here, and I want to ask about your feelings on starting a nonprofit organization. I have a consistent dream that I've had for years. Do you train on this? Yeah. So, Lexi, nonprofits need donors, right? So whether you're a coach or consultant that's building a pro-profit company, or you're a nonprofit that you're wanting to build donors, people who are charitably donating to your cause, it's exactly the same thing. So you still need, I would switch out the word donors for buyers, people that are willing to donate to your cause. Joel Osteen, I get letters from him in the mail all the time, and I get emails from him every single day. That's because he has an audience, an email list, and he actually sells to us all the time. And he's selling us like books and CDs to be able to donate money to his cause, right? And so he creates all these books and CDs around devotionals or messages or just different themes that he has going on in the church. So it's about organizing your thoughts. So it's just the same as a for-profit company. And you do actually all the same marketing to be able to bring in the donations to be able to make a difference for the cause. A great friend of mine, Cynthia Kersey, she built a great email list, and she did something called Give a Little, Get a Lot. And all of us donated our products and services. And what we did was we emailed our email list, and they opted in for her Give a Little, Get a Lot. And they got a lot over the course of, I think it was 30 days. I can't remember if it was 30 days or 14 days. And every day there was something that you could get for $97. And it was brilliant. For $97, you get $600 or $2,000 programs from great celebrities or influencers in the marketplace with really big audiences of their own. And they would all donate these products. And the money went 100% to Africa. So yes, absolutely. You're welcome to send me a private message, and I can get you over to Jean Bills, and you can talk with her about building an email list and building an audience, and then how you actually convert that into donors. So I hope that helps. Hope that idea. There's lots of great ideas like that, but it's really simple. Tiffany, how can I recover from my poor list build on my replay? On your replay, I'm not sure what you mean. How can I recover from a poor list build on my replay? Tiffany, you're going to have to ask me a more specific question. I don't know what you mean about the replay. Okay? Brandy, I noticed the hardest time for me is when I'm tired. Yes, I'm struggling balancing, pushing, and my never giving up attitude and taking care of me. So Brandy, yes. So Alison Armstrong talks about this. I don't know if you know who she is, but she teaches around relationships, not just love relationships, but she studies the power of men and women being in partnership. And the one thing that a man will always do is perform for a queen. But the one thing a queen will never do is wear herself out. So I talk to my clients all the time. So for instance, next week I will do coffee with Shanda, but it's a flex time. And what that means is that if we hadn't just started the 6 a.m. coffees with Shanda, I would have nothing on my plate next week, which I don't, other than, you guys, other than 6 a.m. And what's cool is you'll actually see next week, what am I doing with my day? What am I doing with my life? How am I thinking next week on my flex time, which is basically vacation time, right? It's off time. And so I schedule flex time. So I was sharing this a couple weeks, or I think it was last week, that it's kind of ripped up. But flex days, I have 33 flex days off this quarter, which means I have 33 complete days off this quarter. I have 15 production days. During those 15 production days, I have 3 focuses. I have confirming joint venture partnerships and planning the date. I'm planning the Zone event campaign, which is actually next month. That's on the calendar. And then Facebook Lives on my Hardcore Business page every day, which you see me doing right now. I have 3 objectives over this quarter based on my vision and my goals to make an impact in the world in a bigger way. And there's only 3. But notice that there's 33 days off and there's 15 focus days. What happens with everything else? Fulfillment. It's where I'm actually delivering on the promise that I promised my clients that I'll deliver on to be able to help them get to where they want to be. So Brandy, you have to, the first thing you should do, and you should do it today, is get ahead of your calendar and start planning your flex days, right? Which is your time off. And then ask yourself, what can you do with them? And there, first of all, there's a bit of remember how I said, the only difference between succeeding and struggling is not complaining and not giving away your power. It's really the way that you think. Well, this is a piece of this. You have to be able to turn off business even though you may be struggling. So when I go on a vacation, it's not like there isn't still a ton of things that need to be done by me. There is, but they're going to wait because my life is that important. Your life has got to be that important. Because if you wear out, then nothing's going to happen anyway. You're going to get shitty with your business. You're going to get bad with your messaging. You're going to get loose-ended, meaning that you're going to make some bad mistakes. So you've got to take a break to be able to succeed. One of our clients right now, Emily Utter, is in Bali. And she posted a note yesterday in our Facebook group. And she said how she just laughed hysterically for a long period of time the other day because she's taking time off. Also, you get more productive because ideas start to fire inside your head because of taking time off. It's a really freaking hard thing to get because you're compelled to work, especially if you feel like you have to. You have to break that thinking. You have to break that thinking if you're going to grow your money, your impact, and your influence in the world. Okay, so Brandy, my stretch to you is today get in front of your calendar. And that means that today it's time for you to actually, for the next 3 months, plan out your flex days, which are absolute no work allowed. If someone messages me, if a friend of mine messages me, like my best friend messaged me on Sunday and she wanted to talk business, the answer is, no, I'm sorry, I can't, let's talk on Monday, right? And the problem is that until you train people to not contact you on your flex days, which she's my best friend, so that's why she contacted me, but she knows better. She absolutely knows better. She retracted and said, I'm sorry, I'll talk to you on Monday. The problem is that you'll start thinking business again. So you got to tell everybody in your life when it's a flex day, and so that they know that. Okay, so I'm very fortunate that a lot of my friends have seen me over the years make a huge difference in my own business and in my clients' business, and so many of my friends have now hired me. And that has a tendency of skewing the boundaries. But they've gotten really good because I've held those boundaries when they've contacted me outside of office hours. Hope that helps. Holly, I'm going to Bali. Awesome. Okay, so Phaedra, deadlines. How do we work with deadlines then, Shanda? Rest, but you've got to get her to, how do we work with deadlines and then with me, with coaching with me, because you're contemplating rest, but you got to get her done. Okay, so you should never have to rest if you've got flex time. When I go on vacation, here's the true story. Ash and I got married on April 15th. we were like, we had my flex time, because my flex time is I have a lot of it, right? So we had a flex week for me for a week and a half, like right after our wedding. And we looked at each other and we're both like, we authentically don't want to go away anywhere. Like, authentically, we didn't want to go away anywhere because we're both so well rested, right? So my point in sharing that with you is you don't have to run yourself into the ground. But this is a scheduling thing, right? Like, this isn't a work thing. This is a scheduling thing. You have to schedule things, and then you have to be like integrous. So I always keep my word, and I always finish what I start. Those are mantras. They're rules inside my life. Adopt those rules. Always keep your word, and so you always complete what you start, and keep that role with yourself. And you always do what you say you're going to do. So what that means is that if you are going to hit deadlines, but you still need to rest, you don't need to rest if you actually have flex time in your schedule. So there's no endurance athlete coach or insanely great business coach that will tell you that 7 days a week is a good way to run your life. It's not. You make mistakes. I know that Brendan Burchard starts his morning by thinking. I know that I start my morning by thinking. I just know a lot of people that start their morning by just creating space, and they've got chunks of time. Tony Robbins calls it chunking. So if you listen, there's clues on this, because all the great people are talking about this, but you haven't listened yet. Do you get that? You just haven't listened yet. And because you're still being stubborn, pushing a mindset that is not going to work for you, you're suffering. And so go schedule flex time. Go schedule time off. You will get better. You will become a better performer. You'll get more done in less time. Obviously, going out there and running and doing endurance sports as well. If you don't know that about me, I mean, I know you do, but it actually gives you more time in your life, right? Which is insane. I'm not going to get into that, but it's really interesting. The more you actually put on your plate, the more activity you build in your life, the more you actually get more active. However, if you don't create flex time, you will get buried. Okay. Thanks, Shanda, because I'm working on my webinar, and I can't even think of a title. I need space. That's right. I've scheduled my flex time, done. How do I make sure I don't work? So there's a couple things that you have to do, Brandy, to make sure you don't work. So I don't touch a computer. I can now get on a computer because I don't go into my email. But what I do is I also take, I will take, like, in my settings on my phone, I will actually go and I will take Facebook and Voxer, because my clients Voxer me, Instagram. I will take it all off my phone, because what happens is I will end up in there and I can't help but to serve, and I'll serve, right? So I just take it off. And I used to never touch a computer. Now I can touch a computer and not go into email. I also moved my entire company onto Slack.com, which means that everybody in my company communicates in Slack. And so my email is not necessarily a place for business anymore. That's why my clients email me. A lot of times they won't hear from me for many, many days, because I'm actually getting myself out of email right now, and all my business is in Slack, just so that I can do more work and I can keep my email for more personal things. So that's really important. I have friends who put their phone in a box, literally, like Alex Mendosian said to me the other day, Shanda, put your phone in a box at the end of the day, because what was happening to me is at the end of the day, I still was carrying my phone on the beach with my son, because I stopped work at 2:45 in the afternoon. And so he said, put your phone in a box, because that's something he does, so he's present with his kids. And so everybody has different things, but every great performer has a way to create structure around them to take the time off, right? So what's your thing? Like, what do you do to break it? And you might find that out right now. Do you end up, like, because I end up on social media, right? And so I've got to get my phone out of my hand in order to decompress. So what I do is I take all the apps off, right? So it's such a pain in the butt to have to go to like Safari and like find Facebook and then go in. It's not as convenient, so I just don't do it. And after a day or two, I stop even checking for the app. But it's crazy because you're still checking for the app even though the app isn't turned on your phone, because that's how conditioned you are to work. Alora, my summit is launching on May 29th. However, I took Sabbath last Friday through Sunday evening. Great. Then work 6 p.m. to midnight on Sunday because it's crunch time, flex time, and it's so important. That's right. I mean, that's right. I think that's great. Do you know how many people, Laura, will say to me that they can't keep their spiritual practices because they're growing a business? Bull crapola. That's not true. That's the way you think. Good job, and great for being a stand and posting that on the threads. I love that. Those of you guys who are just joining, Monday through Friday, I do 6 a.m. coffee with Shanda. It's maca with Shanda today. So that's why you see that I don't look like any of my pictures because I'm not done up. I'm just rolled out of bed and I start work at 5 a.m. So I rolled out of bed, started work, and then I'm here for you to just be authentic and real, talk business, have some coffee or maca, and see if we can start your day off much more productive than you normally would. E-platform for doing live interviews to inspire the world, Facebook Live. I don't know what e-platform, I don't know what you mean e-platform, Evelyn. I don't know if you're asking me a question. Cherie, do you suggest flex during sales tempo? Okay, so here's how I'll answer that. Yes, I do. I do not suggest a flex week so that you're off for a week. So I take off a week or 2 weeks at a time every quarter. I used to take off the last week of every month. Now I take off 2 weeks a quarter, right? Grow into this. Grow into this. So just so you know, it is an epidemic that entrepreneurs are workaholics. It's an epidemic, and you've got to break the epidemic so that you can scale. Here's what's crazy. Entrepreneurs tend to be such highly driven individuals that we're the most insane people on the planet, and that's why we can work 7 days a week and think it's okay. And the rest of the people in our lives get so pissed off because they don't have any of your attention. You've got to break that, because if you could perform at this level at 7 days a week, you will perform at this level with actually taking time off, right? So Sharir, to answer your question, so that in case people don't know what tempo means that it's like an endurance athlete. When you're getting stronger, you do a tempo, which means that you're doing speed work. You're really pushing hard. So in our community, entrepreneurs, when they're selling, they're in a sales tempo, which means they're pushing hard. All their attention is on that one thing, and that's why they're going to knock it out of the park. And she's asking, do I take flex time off during a sales tempo? Yes, you do. But if you want to keep if you want to take like a week off or something like that, you have to learn how to build a sales team, right? It's about team at that point so that you can leverage your time. So if you don't have team right now, then I would be like, build a weekend before you go into sales tempo and take that week off. Or build in, 2 days a week that, I actually think sales tempos are great on the weekends to work. I also think switching up your hours and sometimes working evenings versus during the day is fantastic. So maybe you set up your life so that you're an entrepreneur, you get to do whatever you want. What if you, get creative, Sheree? You could actually take off, Monday, right? You could take off Monday off work if you wanted to, Sunday, Monday, and work Tuesday through Saturday. You could also take off the days and go to the spa during the day, or start work at noon. When I go work from Barbados, we have a house in Barbados, and when I go work from Barbados, I go swim with the turtles in the morning, do yoga on the beach, and then I start work at noon. And I remember the first time I did that 4 years ago or 5 years ago. I remember thinking, oh my God, why don't I ever do that at home? I live on the ocean. Why don't I start work at noon and work later? Now, I choose to start work at 5 a.m. and end at 2:45 in the afternoon or 2:30 in the afternoon. But it's interesting. It all comes down to our thinking, right? Like, get creative and figure out what works for you and then stick to that plan. This is where your integrity comes into play. You have to stick to that plan. If you stick to that plan consistently, like give it 6 months or something like that, and stick to the plan and see how cool your life gets and how much you love it. Now, know that the plan will have some challenges in it, and you have to be committed enough to stick to it regardless. Okay, Petra, quick start 7. Yeah, that's good. I'm a quick start 8, so I get it. Okay, so I think we're good here. So I think what we're going to do is end on that note. So let's end on the note and give everybody the challenge to get ahead of their calendar today, and look at the next 3 months and plan in some flex time. I'll give you a small disclosure before I cut out for the day. Make sure that you ask yourself, what would be a 10-day off? A 10-day off. Okay? And what you might want to do is you might want to just think to yourself, what are 3 different 10 days off that I've had in my life? And what I mean by 10, I'm rating it a 10, like a 5-star day off. And what are 3 like 5-star moments in my life? And what do I contribute the reason why they were 5 stars to me? Right? Like, was it that, like, for me, I know that, being able to sit down with a good book, being able to go, like, ride my bike with a group of people, being with family and friends, wine, great food, long endurance bike rides or runs, and reading, like, just, like, complete, like, by the pool, reading, or on a boat, reading. Those are the things that give me a 5-star day off. And so when I look at my days off, I plan them like that. So for instance, Sunday, Ash and I went sailing for 2 hours. We took our son, we went sailing for 2 hours. I actually looked for like helicopter rides, because I like to do activities. We also went and worked out, right? We also went and worked out. And so schedule your days off to be 5-star days off, where you actually like pre-schedule things that you want in them. That will bring up your vitality and that will bring up your energy so you don't feel like you need so much time off. Okay, God bless. I'll see you here tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Pacific, Cali time tomorrow. Bye.